Disney's ship was already sinking, but Rick and Morty came along to deliver the final blow. If you thought Rachel Zegler was upset by the previous jokes and jabs, just wait until you see her reaction to the latest roast. The animated series has never been one to let a pop culture moment slide, and this time was no exception. Rick and Morty is like that one smug genius at a party, smarter than everyone else and totally unbothered, who effortlessly tears down whatever everyone else holds dear. The show has built its legacy on throwing pop culture into a chaotic, interdimensional blender where nothing is off limits. Movies, franchises, fandoms, everything gets roasted with a uniquely sci-fi twist that somehow turns the absurd into something disturbingly profound. Just think back to some of their classic takedowns, like the episode Something Rick This Way Comes, which hilariously skewered Stephen King's Needful things. That one featured cursed trinkets and twisted moral lessons, with Rick opening a rival store that sold the same items, minus the curses, just to prove a point. Rick and Morty doesn't just parody, it deconstructs with laser precision.
This aftershave made women want me, but it also made me impotent!
A price for everything, Mr. Goldenfold. A price for everything.
Just like that, Rick and Morty flips the classic "be careful what you wish for" trope into a chaotic lesson on how sometimes evil is just plain bad business. But it's not only movies that get the heat. Entire franchises are fair game. Marvel, for instance, wasn't spared. In the episode Vindicators 3, The Return of World Ender, the show delivers a ruthless takedown of every superhero team cliché in the book. There's the brooding leader, the melodramatic backstories, the forced emotional arcs. It's a direct hit on the MCU formula. Rick doesn't even pretend to care. He shows up purely to cause havoc, and in doing so, exposes just how predictable and manufactured those billion-dollar blockbusters can be. It's like watching the Avengers reimagined with Tony Stark completely blackout drunk, and genuinely despising the rest of the team.
Shred this universe down to its last atom. And then, create a new one.
Does he really speak for everyone here?
Even Disney couldn't dodge the sharp edge of Rick and Morty's satire. In one seemingly offhand line, "You're using Disney bucks at Caesar's Palace," the show delivers a brutal jab, mocking how Disney has transformed imagination into corporate currency. Fantasy is no longer magical. It's monetized, repackaged into loyalty programs and brand synergy. That critique hits even harder with the looming Snow White remake, already a PR disaster. Casting drama, script changes, and lead actress Rachel Zegler's controversial remarks have ignited endless backlash. Her blunt dismissal of the 1937 classic as outdated sparked major outrage, even before a trailer dropped. This kind of chaos is exactly what Rick and Morty thrives on. Imagine a warped fairy tale where Snow White is a military tactician, the dwarves are unionized, and the magic mirror is a TikTok filter judging trends. It's hilarious, sharp, and unsettling, just like the real-life mess Disney created for itself.
That it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
When it came to the prince, Rachel Zegler didn't hold back. She publicly described him as someone who literally stalks Snow White. Yes, she said that out loud, and no, it wasn't a one-time hot take. At the D23 Expo, Disney's flagship fan convention, where fairy tale magic is supposed to shine, Rachel doubled down. This version of Snow White wasn't waiting around to be saved by a man. Not this time, she declared, emphasizing that her character had her own plans. While her intentions may have been to give the story a modern twist, the internet didn't exactly applaud. The backlash was swift and unforgiving. Critics accused her of turning a beloved classic into a shallow girl boss meme. Think pieces poured in, arguing that feminism doesn't require torching every tale with a prince. Some even defended traditional roles, suggesting that choosing love isn't anti-feminist. One brand strategist bluntly stated, "Rachel sounded like she skipped media training entirely."
Weird.
The real mic drop came when David Hand, the son of the man who co-directed the original Snow White, publicly slammed the remake. He didn't hold back, calling it insulting, and going as far as to say that Walt Disney would be rolling in his grave. Just imagine, you land the coveted role of a Disney princess, and instead of living the fairy tale, you find yourself caught in a public feud with the very family that helped build the Disney legacy. That's not just a plot twist. It's a full-blown PR nightmare. straight out of a Reputation management horror story.
They flew an executive, one of the producers, out to go visit personally with Rachel Zegler to say, could you please take that down? Because we understand you can have your political views, but those aren't really helpful while you're trying to build an audience for a movie. Maybe you could save them for like your diary and your friends, but like maybe not, maybe just take the tweet down. And she wouldn't. And then they had to hire a special media consultant for her to follow her around all the time and make sure she didn't continue shitting on Snow.
Just when the Snow White drama seemed to peak, it escalated further. Conservative outlet The Daily Wire jumped in announcing their own version, Snow White and the Evil Queen, starring Brett Cooper, aimed as ideological counter-programming to Disney's remake. But by late 2024, Cooper had left the company, and the project vanished. Meanwhile, Rachel Zegler tried damage control, giving a tearful interview in October saying her comments were misunderstood. Then in August, the trailer dropped, igniting fresh chaos. Gal Gadot's ties to Israel drew boycott calls, while Zegler's pro-Palestine stance deepened the divide. Things exploded when Rachel posted, F Donald Trump, triggering a conservative backlash.
Hello, Disney. You're going to have to redo your film again because this woman is a pig and you fired Gina Carano for far less than this nonsense.
Rachel later apologized, saying she never intended to hurt anyone, but the damage was done. Online, nothing really disappears. Still, the full blame doesn't fall on her. Disney mishandled the situation from the start. You'd think they'd know how to navigate princess content by now, but the chaos began much earlier. With Peter Dinklage. In January 2022, he slammed Snow White as a backward story on a podcast, and people took notice. As a major Hollywood figure with dwarfism, his criticism hit hard. Disney rushed out a PR statement claiming they were already consulting the dwarfism community, but many weren't convinced. The controversy only snowballed.
The amount of, like, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. Leave it alone. Yeah, that's it. If it ain't broke, break it. Like, leave these stories alone. By the way, if she never opened her mouth and she didn't do all this nonsense, people would have gone and watched the movie. They would have made their money, but then people would have been disappointed after that.
Not everyone in the dwarfism community agreed with Peter Dinklage, and they weren't quiet about it. Former WWE star Dylan Hornswoggle Postal, along with actors Jeff Brooks and Katrina Kemp, pushed back hard. They argued Dinklage's comments risked eliminating rare acting opportunities for little people, asking who made him the spokesperson for their entire community. Things escalated further in July 2023 when leaked set photos from Disney's Snow White remake showed 6 of the 7 dwarfs as average-height, ethnically diverse actors. Disney claimed they were stand-ins, but later admitted the photos were real. Backlash exploded, with critics accusing Disney of erasing representation. Then Jason "Wee-Man" Acuna called them out too.
Hugh Grant is now playing an Oompa Loompa. So I guess, Hugh Grant, you're now identifying as a little person.
Dylan Postal backed Jason "Wee-Man" Acuna like a hype man with receipts, defending the original 1937 dwarfs as iconic, not offensive. He argued they represented the only major roles for actors with dwarfism in a beloved mainstream film, and now Disney was acting like they were never cool to begin with. That was the real insult. Instead of building on that legacy, Disney seemed to erase it. By October 2023, they made a safe digital pivot, releasing a CGI image of the dwarfs. No live-action actors, no 7 dwarfs in marketing, just names like Bashful and Dopey, controversy avoided, legacy quietly shelved.